Andrew, Bruce, what's going on? I hope you guys have had an awesome start today. Most importantly, I hope you had a safe journey back on Wednesday. I came out of that session, guys, like I told you, anytime we're automating stuff like this, it gets me really, really excited, because this is where we can get true leverage, true foundations, and it really for scaling stuff up and really putting in a business in a place where it becomes an asset and a machine. There's nothing better than what you guys have got mapped out here. It's super exciting. It's the best way to start all of this stuff. So in this video, I want to walk through the notes from the session, which are all now typed up and on this document here. This is also attached as a PDF for you as well. And I just want to run through all of that, run through what the next steps are, and basically just get you guys back up to speed, because I know what it's like after the meeting. You're like, oh, where is everything? What am I thinking? And all that other stuff as well. So grab yourself a coffee and let's talk through all of this. So I've got our goal or our focus for the next 90 days, guys, as being basically systemize the foundations of the business so that you can, now it's not going to buy you time back immediately because you're going to have to build this stuff out, but once it's built out, it's going to help you buy back time, and it's basically going to help us build a machine that's going to work in the background to deliver not only an epic experience for customers, but it's going to deliver the ability for you to stop people falling through the cracks. So you can sit there and be 100% confident that each and every single customer that comes through the business, whether it's a lead and then they become a customer, gets a consistent experience. And if we've got consistency, that's like the best thing that we can ever have, because as a business grows and as a business scales, as we bring more people on board, and when I say people, I mean more customers, it means that we have the confidence in what's going on, that each person's getting serviced as they should be serviced, rather than people slipping through the cracks and us ending in a really shitty place, which is not what we want. So, plan of attack is basically 3 phases on this one, guys. Phase number 1 is systemizing the quote process. Then we've got phase number 2, which is systemizing the onboarding process. And I've got here phase number 3. And it's not really phase number 3. I think this is like an ongoing phase throughout the next 90 days here. Is talking and amongst yourselves and with the guys in Swansea about what we can do with the tickets. Now, on the back of the meeting the other day, I've done a little bit of digging here, and I think we can duct tape something together without Swansea, which is very cool. But I will walk through what I've seen, what I've discovered, and then you guys can have a conversation as to how you want to make that work and all that sort of thing. But anyway, that's me getting ahead of myself. The first part of all of this, like I said, is the email signature. So email signature here, this is an example from Ian Stone from Acon Asbestos, is making sure across the business that we start getting photos and emails. And I can't help but smile each and every single time I see this, because Ian's got a nice smiley face, and if I can smile because of that, just imagine what end prospect, people that are dealing with you, have that sort of experience as well. It's a great picture. We got the logo on there. Still, you've got name, rank, and serial number, but again, we just remove the facelessness from all communications, and we start building that deep-rooted psychological rapport for people as they are coming through as well. Now, what I put on here is, I'm going to put the other one on here as well, is the tools for making this automation happen. And now, what I am going to say, if I find out, this is mainly at you, Andrew, that you've been digging into these before we've got the content done, it's a waste of time, because we don't need to worry about the technology behind it. But these are basically the 2 tools that I would recommend for automating the email side of things. So we've got one which is called ActiveCampaign, and we've got the other one which is called Infusionsoft. Basically sort of like marketing automation platforms, softwares. So for complete and utter transparency, Infusionsoft is the one that we use here. I've been a customer of these guys for probably about the last 8 or 9 years. When they first actually came to the UK, we were one of their first people. These guys have got an absolutely fantastic platform, all singing, all dancing, does some absolutely amazing, powerful things, with a platform that does the power that Infusionsoft has. There, of course, comes complexity and a bit of a learning curve and all that sort of stuff, and a bit more of a higher price tag as well, which is what it is basically. But it's a very good platform, and gives some real good consistency, scale, and opportunities and all that sort of stuff to automate all this sort of stuff with a little bit more power. The other one is ActiveCampaign. Now again, ActiveCampaign is a marketing automation platform. I really like this one. If this had been around maybe 8 years ago at the price point of where they're at, I might have looked at this one. These guys are doing some of the stuff that Infusionsoft sort of like pioneered really, but they're doing it for like a fraction of the price. Is really cool. With that being said, some of the in-depth automating side of things, these guys aren't quite there yet, and some of the customization with forms and bits and pieces, it's a little bit clunky here inside of ActiveCampaign, whereas Infusionsoft makes that a little bit slicker once you learn how to build that process with Infusionsoft out. But either way, guys, I think once we've got the content ready for stuff, we can have a bit more of an in-depth conversation in terms of what you guys think is the right way to go, or whether we start here and then move here, but we can walk through that anyway. But I just wanted to point you guys in the direction of the software. Pricing wise, I think ActiveCampaign starts at like $9 a month or something ridiculous. Infusionsoft is up and around $50-$60 a month, I think. So there is a little bit of a difference in pricing, but to be honest, once this thing in place, even if you're up here at Infusionsoft level and you're going at $60 a month, fuck, you can't get like an employee to do this stuff for anywhere near that sort of money. So it's like the best investment that you can have. Our setup here with Infusionsoft, I'm convinced we've got it doing like the work of 8 or 9 employees. It's absolutely amazing. But anyway, that's the technology behind it. So in terms of the real nuts and bolts, we've got for the quoting process, I think we've got these sort of like these 5 steps that we basically want to systematically walk someone through. The first one being is we need them, if they're looking to buy sort of like low-level hardware, we can replicate this, I think, for servers down the line. But the first thing that we need to get them to do is to send or to complete the job request form, which I think we're going to end up, from what you're saying, Andrew, building that out in incognito forms. Once we've got that form in, we need to send them the quote. Once we've sent them the quote, we need to get them to accept the quote. Once they've accepted the quote and the order's been received, we need to order the stock. And then step number 5, we need to basically tell them that the order or install has been complete. So whenever we're building out any sort of automation or system, we've got like our overlaid process, and then we've got sort of like the smaller steps that need to happen in between. And I like to break it out like this because it just basically means we've got flexibility in this machine. It means we can add things in and out, and it doesn't break if one of these things sort of like fall down. It's part, they're all individual processes as such, which form part of the bigger process, if that makes sense. So I always like to name them what needs to happen, and then basically we know when it starts. It starts when they need to complete the job request form, and this one is complete once they've completed the job request form. The labeling makes it a little bit easier for us to understand what the people in this process, or this microprocess, are what we currently want them to do. So first things first, we've got our needs to complete job request form process. And the goal here is to get the customer to complete the job request form. The trigger is that the customer has basically sort of like raised their hand, they've sent an email in, they might have spoke to one of the team, and they said, look, I'd like to quote on a workstation, laptop, etc., etc. So what we can basically do, using a simple form, whether that's with ActiveCampaign or whether that's with Infusionsoft, we can get anyone in the business to fill that form out and say, this is the customer's name, this is the customer's email address, and basically then this system will start talking to the customer or to the client. So the first thing that's going to happen is immediately as that form is filled out, there's going to be an email that goes like it looks from Bruce. So it's going to have this footer on the bottom, and this actually, I should say that this footer doesn't just apply to the automated emails, it should apply to all your internal emails as well with your Office 365 or whatever you guys are running now. This should be standard sort of like business formatting. And it's like, hey Charlie, really great to hear that you're interested in the laptop. Now, in order to get this thing going, I need you to fill out the form on the link below. This just basically means that we've got everything here to handle that request. It means it's the fastest thing possible. As soon as I've got that here, or as soon as I've got confirmation of that, what I do is I'll work my socks off to get this quote over to you, and we can go from there. Any questions, just let me know. Bruce. So I've bullet pointed out what needs to go in each email. You just need to flesh that out a little bit. And the key to this whole thing, guys, is basically to humanise all these emails. The trap that you can fall into when we're writing the emails, because we're sat there writing them thinking that they're going to be an automated email, is that we go all corporate on them, we lose all the personality, and as soon as we do that, like, it just, like, the people that gets this email is like, oh my god, like, what is this? I'm not interested, I'm not excited. We need to just inject a little bit of personality into it. So each and every single time you are writing one of these emails, think as if this customer is literally just raised their hand and done it, and you are writing to this one person. You're thinking as though you're writing it to an individual, and write it like you would write it as if that individual is in there. So if you normally say hey, if you normally say hi, do this. This is like, we want this person to think you've spent 5 minutes writing this email to them, and to do that, we need to make sure that the language will reflect the sort of language that you would normally use in the same tone as well. And again, that's the way to think. If you would normally use an informal tone if you were dealing with this existing customer in an email, and then you go to a formal tone on this, again, there's gaps appearing. So think how you would respond to the customer normally, and respond in that exact same way as part of this process. So what's going to happen? We're going to send that email out. If they fill the form out, this stuff stops. We can use Cognito forms to basically talk to ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft and say, guys, this goal has been met, and do not follow through with the rest of it. And that applies to everything that we do here. Now, if they haven't filled out the form 2 days later, there's going to be an email that goes out from Bruce and it's, Charlie, hey, just following up on the quote from the other day. Did everything make it through okay? Did the form break? If it did, let me know and we're going to fix it. Otherwise, in order to get this whole thing moving on the laptop, just fill out the form below, and we get that rocking and rolling. Once you do that, here's what's going to happen next. So we always tell them what we want them to do, and then we tell them what's going to happen next once they've done it, to future pace and to get them moving forward and all that sort of stuff as well. And it's worthwhile noting here, guys, that form on the front end, when this triggers, we can merge stuff in. So what we can say is, for example, if we've got a web form that triggers this automation, and we ask in there what the customer's name is, what the customer's email address is, what they've asked for, we can merge that data in. So if we can type in there, customers asked for a set of laptops or a workstation, we can merge that into the email. So it's like, hey, John, great to hear that you're interested in a set of laptops, the suite of workstations, a new upgraded server. We can basically put it in the box in the form and mail merge it into the email. So again, we can make this whole thing look super, super personalized. We just need to think up front what we need to merge in the emails, and we just build it into the form basically that we fill out to trigger the sequence, which again, it just helps us blur all of the lines between automation and reality, which is brilliant. And then we've got a notification that goes to Catherine 3 days after, again, if they've still not completed the form. And it's like, Catherine, please give this customer a call on this telephone number, checking on the quote. They asked for, they had an inquiry, again, we can merge it in. They've inquired about some workstations. They've not filled out the form yet. Can you give them a call and see if you can fill it in for them? The end result being, of course, that we want that form filled out. Now, when that form gets filled out, that stops this sequence, and it then starts the next one. And the next one, of course, is that we need to send the quote. So the goal is to send the customer the quote, and the trigger is that the customer has filled out the job request form. So 35 minutes after that form gets filled out, because we're going to assume here that the customer has sent that out. And again, if we were to immediately trigger this email from Bruce, they'd be like, hang on a minute. This isn't very genuine. I've literally filled this out, and Bruce, I'm convinced, is not sat there straight away dealing with this. We give it a little bit of delay. We're then like, hey, Charlie, thanks for filling out the form. Really, really appreciate it. I think that now means that we've got everything we need here to quote you for. We can merge it in again for the laptops, the workstations, whatever it might be. Give me like 48 hours, and I'm going to get back to you as soon as I possibly can, and we'll get this all sort of like going and make sure you've got a price for it. Thanks again, Bruce. Then 1 day later, there's a notification that goes to Andrew, Bruce, and Catherine, and it's like, guys, the quote for Charlie is due in 24 hours. Pull your fucking finger out, make sure it's going to happen. We then have a notification that goes, that should be again, a day after that. It's like, guys, this quote is due now / today. Heads are going to roll unless this thing goes out and gets done. And then we have one that goes 3 days after that, which is like, fuck me, guys. This is 3 days late. What is going on? Get this sorted. In fact, you might even put me on this one, and I'm going to give you all a bollocking over Voxer, being like, why are people waiting 3 days over to get their quotes out? But this is like, again, it's just that nudges for you guys internally to make sure that this stuff happens. And again, what you'll tend to find with this is that whole finger in the air, we go, I think we normally get quotes out within like 24 hours. And then you start getting these notifications. You're like, oh, holy shit, like, is it really taking us this long to turn these things around? So we can start gaming the system as part of that. Now, of course, the goal of this is to send the customer a quote. When that quote gets sent out, we will stop this automation and start the next one. And that one, of course, is that we need to get the customer to accept the quote. And the trigger is when the quote is generated and it's sent out to the customer. So again, what we can do is we can take that link from ConnectWise we can merge that in to one of our emails, whether that's from ActiveCampaign or whether that's from Infusionsoft. And it's like, hi Charlie, so here's the quote you requested on the laptops. All you need to do to accept it is just literally, you can view it by clicking the link below. To accept it, just click the big green button. We'll then get everything rocking and rolling here. We can get the stock order, we can get an install date in, and we're going to be away at the races. If you've got any questions about the price or about the install, just let me know and I can make that happen. 2 days after, if they haven't accepted the quote, we do another little follow-up from you, Bruce. And it's like, guys, just checking in. Did the quote make it through okay? Did the system go down? Sometimes we have problems with the online stuff, so just wanted to make sure that you view it okay. If you did, great. If you had problems, let me know. Otherwise, here's what you need to do next. Just click on the form, click accept, and we get this rocking and rolling. And again, we just talk them through what they need to do. And then 3 days after that, if they've still not filled it out, there's a notification that goes to you, Bruce, and it's like, please call the customer. Check in on the quote. I've seen you've not filled it out. Is this thing still alive or is it dead? And again, you can mark that off the pipeline if you know either way. So the goal was to get them to accept the quote. If they've accepted the quote, then we will stop this sequence wherever they're at and we will start the next sequence, which is this one. And the goal here is to basically order the stock, allocate an engineer and get the install booked in. The trigger being the customer gives the go-ahead on the order. So, as soon as they give the go-ahead on the order, there's a notification that goes out to Catherine and says, Catherine, order the stock for John, and here's what they basically ordered. There's an email that then goes out from the, where are we? That was from Bruce, I think, wasn't it? There. I'm going to put a 35-minute delay on that one, 55 mins. And that's basically, look, thanks for the order. Think we've got everything here now, so here's what's going to happen next. Stock should be with us in the next couple of days or so, and that should mean that actually once we've got the engineer booked in, everything should be installed on your site within the next 7 to 10 days, which is going to be fantastic. Andrew or myself or Catherine are going to be in contact with you. Once the stock's in, we're going to be in touch. We can get the engineer booked on site. And once again, thanks for the business. We really, really appreciate it. And then we've got the notification there, number 3, which goes to Andrew 2 days after when the stock should be in, which basically says allocate the engineer and then get that customer booked in for an install, which is fantastic. And then we go step number 5, which is basically once the install has been complete, the goal of this is to basically check in with the customer post install, and the trigger is when that install is basically done and dusted. So as soon as that job is marked and done, email that goes out from Andrew the day later that says Clark said the install was done. Any trouble, let me know. Thanks again, Andrew. Notification that then goes to Andrew that says call, record, install / warranty details. Now, what I think there's an argument for here, guys, if you're game, is I'm going to put a notification in. We didn't talk about this. Notification number 3. And that's going to be Catherine immediately. And that goes send, surprise, and delight. So, Matt and Kelly, you'll meet them at the think tank, Printing Business, we talked about them. They do, for each and every single order that they do, and they have customers that place multiple orders with them, is they do little notifications for surprise and delight like this. So their ethos is each and every single time someone places an order, that customer, and I'm a great believer in this as well, should be thanked. Now that doesn't matter if they're placing something like 100 orders a week, we just send them a load of shit. So depending what the value of the order is, they've got different things that they send out. So sometimes it might just be a chocolate bar, other times it might just be like a box of brownies or whatever it might be. But if a customer has just placed a project install with you guys, I think that should be thanked. It shouldn't just be thanked on the front end when they come on board. It's like, guys, thanks again for purchasing for us. There's enough margin in what you guys do to spend £5 on whatever it might be, and just to send that out in the post to let them know that, look, you really appreciate the business and whatever it might be and all that sort of stuff. It's a great way, again, to build value. It's a great way to build trust. It's a great way to build rapport. It's a great way, more importantly, to generate referrals, because they're like, holy shit, like this, just like, what's going on? We order from people all the time and they don't do this. So we can't forget get during a life cycle of a customer to reward those people as well. So I'm going to put that one in there. So that, guys, is our quote process, systemized and automated, which is really, really cool. And then moves us on to our next phase, which is the onboarding. And this is basically how we consistently bring each and every single new client on board after they've agreed to come on board. And again, this is like that honeymoon period where if we can cement a rock solid relationship here, referrals go through the roof. Plus, again, as the business scales, there's nothing worse than signing up like a shit ton of business, but not having the confidence to be that each and every single person is going to get a consistent experience when they come in, and therefore, just we end up in a big shitstorm, which is no good. So, first step. Need to complete new client form. Customer needs to complete the new client form so that we've got all the information they need. And the goal here is to get the client to complete the new form. I think we need a better name for this. So what I mean by a better name for this, if we're sending out an email and it's like, please complete the new client form, it doesn't sound very exciting. But if we could get like we call it like a kickstart form or whatever, something like that. If you can quickly fill out our kickstart form, it means that we can get rocking and rolling straight away. So if we can have a name or a branded name for this, it just makes the customer, the client, be a little bit more excited about coming with you guys and all that sort of stuff. Trigger is that they have signed up for you guys for one of your monthly packages. And as soon as we've got that, we're going to send out an email from Bruce. And it's like, again, as a salesperson, welcome on board. This like, you can't overdo this stuff. Now, we use it all the time with what we do here. We get members to use it all the time as well. It doesn't matter what we're selling, whether it's high-end B2B consultancy, whether it's picture frames. We always have that buyer's remorse where people are like, did I just make the great decision to do this? We want to basically pat people on the back as soon as possible, be like, you know what, you, my friend, are a super, super smart person in terms of jumping on board on this. This is going to change everything for you, and we just want to put people's mind at ease. We want to give them the complete and utter confidence in the decision that they've just made by telling them it was the right thing to do. So welcome on board. Great decision. This is going to change everything for the business. It's going to mean you've got all of this stuff. Can't wait to get started. And just to let you know, Andrew, sort of like our technical director here, he's going to be in contact very, very shortly, probably in the next couple of days, just to introduce himself and to make sure that we can get you set up and rocking and rolling and all that sort of stuff as well. Now, immediately at the same time, we're going to have a notification that goes to Swansea that's like, cha-ching! New client on board. We're going to get a notification that goes out to Catherine immediately. It's like, cool, new client on board. Send them the surprise and delight pack, handwritten thank you card, box of chocolates. Get this done, get it out the door. And then we're going to wait for 2 hours. And we're going to have an email that goes out from Andrew, and it's like, hey Charlie, great to meet you. Bruce has just told me the awesome news, really, really good decision. Can't wait to have you on board here. Pricing is going to be brilliant. I want to get this literally started with you straight away. So all I need you to do is just quickly fill out our quick start form below. It's literally going to take you a couple of minutes. It's super, super simple. I just need like 2 minutes of your time, because once you do that, it means that we can get started. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this. We can get your support set up and just basically tell them all the stuff that's going to happen. And a great move once again. And welcome on board. We really, really appreciate it. 5 days after that, we're going to assume that they've not filled that form out. If they have filled the form out, they're not going to get anything below. But if they haven't, we're going to give them a quick nudge. And it's Charlie, just checking in. It's Andrew, and I've noticed that you've not filled out our quick start form. I get it. Things are busy. Problem is we can't get started rocking and rolling here and getting your stuff looked after. Most importantly, if things break, we can't help you with it until we've got this form filled out. Can you literally spend like 60 seconds of the day today filling the form out? If you've got any problems, if it's something on the form, just let us know and I'm going to help you. And yeah, really, really appreciate it. Andrew, 2 days after that, if they've still not done it, notification goes to you now, Andrew, and it's like, look, it's been 7 days. Call the customer. It's been a week since you signed up. Look, I know you're probably busy and trying to work this out. Let's just get this thing sorted out while you're on the phone now. And then, Andrew, you can basically fill that form out on the phone, because once that form is filled out, we will stop this automation and start this one. So, this one is step number 2, set up the client to book a site audit. So this is to get the client set up internally and to book that sort of like immediately site visit and audit. And again, as soon as they're a customer, another in-person touch point. Let's get them on side. The trigger is that the client has filled out the new client renamed form. And the first thing that's going to happen, notification goes out to Henry and Swansea. It's like, Henry, cool. Roll out this new customer on the system. Here's all the information you need. And I need you to fill out the Casese, or wherever you say, score. So we've got that. Then 2 days afterwards, they're going to get an email, customers are going to get an email from Henry. And again, Henry needs the email for set out in the automated system as well. It's like, hey, Charlie, good news. I'm Henry. I'm sort of like just got you all set up on the system here. This now means that you can use us. So any problems technically, you just need to call this number. Here's how that works. Here's what it's going to be. And I'm going to personally start running some scans on the system now to make sure that we do a full health check and we get everything rocking and rolling where it needs to be, which is great. 5 days after that, we get an email from Andrew, and it's like, hey, Charlie, just a quick one to let you know, I think Henry got in contact with you last week. We've been through all the scans and stuff here. I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The bad news is, we found a couple of things here. We scored your system at around about a 55. We need to get it to a 95. It's nothing to worry about, because the good news is we're going to be taking care of all of that for you now. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to bump that up, and I'll let you know how that all goes. In the meantime, what I'd really like to do is, it would be great to get Bruce and an engineer out on site so they can walk through some bits with you. They can talk through some of our findings, and most importantly, we can speed up the whole process of getting this fixed. So we're using the excuse that they've got the bad score to get your foot back in the door, and then the day after, Catherine gets the notification, and it's basically cool. Call the customer, book Bruce in, and go, I've just seen that Andrew let me know and said that we need to get you in for a site visit with Bruce and an engineer to get everything sort of like set up and to walk through some of the things that we found what was going on there. When's a good date to get that booked in? So this thing finishes when Catherine's got that date and time booked in the diary for the meeting. And then that stops this automation, starts this one, and the goal here is to basically just confirm and remind the client about the site audit, and the trigger is when the client is booked in for that initial site visit. They get an email from Bruce 2 days before the audit, and it's like, Charlie, super excited about coming in. We can run through some of those things that Andrew and the technical guys here found out. I'm also going to bring one of our engineers with us as well. He's going to do a bit of a site audit in the background. He's just going to be walking around, and that just means that we can get really familiar with the system, and basically means that we can serve you better. Can't wait to meet you in 2 days' time. Look forward to seeing you. Then Bruce. And then basically we have our long-term nurture, customer nurture process. And this is what we talked about in terms of you guys being able to basically talk to customers. Each and every single customer shouldn't go past a 90-day period, or sorry, a 30-day period without having a conversation with yourself, Andrew, and just talking through how that works. So we want to make sure that in your diary, Andrew, you've got 2 or 3 days a month that you log in, have a look at the spreadsheet and be like, right, cool, how many days has it been since I last spoke to this customer, and all that sort of stuff. So let me walk you through now how we do that here internally, and this is how we've got a couple of other members doing it as well. So we use this platform here called Airtable. It's showing me my logged in screen, but Airtable basically is it's a spreadsheet, or it's not really, it's a database type platform, online SaaS database. All that. Let me just log in with a incognito window, and they probably describe it way better than I can describe it. Airtable.com that allows you to create sort of like small little databases for doing and monitoring different things, which is really cool. So part spreadsheet, part database, very flexible, and all that sort of stuff. So what this is great for is building situations where you go, and actually it would be kind of cool to have like a little mini database of what's going on, customer contact points and all that sort of stuff, but a spreadsheet doesn't necessarily have the flexibility to do what you want with it. They've got like a load of samples of different things that you can do and all that sort of stuff. But let me just show you through our ones. This is one for our fellowship. So like I said, we make sure that we target ourselves internally that 5 days someone should have at least one point of contact from me or Emma, depending on what's going on, and whether that's like a Voxer message or whatever it might be. Now that might be a member communicating with us, it might be us reaching out to a member. So what we have inside of Airtable is this one here, and you can see here, so we've got sort of like whether or not the member's active, when the last touch point was. We've then got like a formula field which works out how long it's been since then, and then if the number is over 5, there's a little formula field that goes on here that shows overdue. So it's basically a spreadsheet, but it's a little bit cleverer because it can do all this sort of stuff. We can put extra columns in. We've got like a load of other customer data that we build out on the back of this, but this is just one of ours here. So we also record sort of attendance at think tank meetings, attendance for call-ins, how long we spent supporting each member as well, so we know exactly what that looks like. If we just show you this one. So you can see here sort of like time logs at different days for all that's going on. So if we wanted to, for any member, we can see roughly how much time we spent on each one, which is really, really cool. In fact, these guys here at the top are away, so we know again what's cool about this. So we've got Will here. So Will's in the process of selling his business at the moment. James is actually away. He's been away for a month on business. So these are people that again we know, but at least we've flagged and we know that they're over where they are at, which is really, really cool. So let me show you how this works in reality. We then have this. Who can we pick here? So I know after I spoke to Matt Darby today on Voxer. So I go into Airtable and we can power things with these little forms, which is just brilliant. So I can go time log. And I knew after I spoke to you guys, I spent 5 minutes on Voxer, so the date, which was today, to Matt Darby. Add one to Ash as well. I also add one to AJ or Alan as he's in this for. And I click submit. So what's going to happen is this is basically going to now do the little calculation in real time. So where are we? We can see, so Alan, Ash and Matt. So Alan Hudson, where's he on the list? Alan Hudson, so he was contacted yesterday anyway, whereas Matt Darby was 2 days. And Ash was, I think, the day before anyway, down there. So yeah, he was contacted this morning as well. I just click submit. It does the little thing and just it notifies that straight away. So that's real-time stuff. So what this basically means here is you can have this same sort of like little mini customer database set up here if you wanted to, Andrew, which you can record a whole host of stuff in. But you can basically just have this as a dashboard. So when you go call, so now is my day to make the calls. I'm going to go in and be like, right, which one of these are overdue? And I'm going to start at the top of that list. When you log in the week after, which ones are overdue? And we go through that. It's a great little platform. And as I said, you can do some really, really cool stuff in terms of tracking all sorts of things in the back end with different customers, what they're at, where their setup is, what their locations are, and all that sort of thing. This is just how we use this one here, which is brilliant. So that's that one there. And then the next thing is tickets. So I've done a little bit of research, and it looks like, from what I can see, Zapier connects with ConnectWise, which Bruce, I know means nothing to you. For Andrew, this I guess is for more for you. So what I think this means we can do if we wanted to duct tape something together, if we looked at Zapier and ConnectWise, we could have a little rule set up that basically was like, right, cool, if a ticket gets raised and is ticked or marked as for Aberdeen, then let's do something with it, whether that goes in a spreadsheet, whether that goes wherever it might be, but let's use that so that you guys can start having some visibility on that data. We could use it to build a dashboard, we could use it to put stuff into Airtable, we could use it to start an automation, and then basically what we can then do is we can be like, cool, then look for tickets that have been upgraded. So the next thing, if a ticket is changed from, I don't know, unassigned to assigned, then we can trigger other automations, stop certain automations, we can update numbers in spreadsheets, we can change numbers in spreadsheets. But I think if we can get the guys at Swansea as a quicker win, just to make sure that they tag everything as Aberdeen, we can set up some rules here then inside of Zapier that says when different tickets get moved or changed between different statuses, if they've got the Aberdeen tag, let's do something with them so that you've got the transparency and the visibility around where they are. Now, what we could do with that if we wanted to, we could look at something like Trello, and again, I'm sort of talking off the cuff here, and I think we could do this. we could have a board in Trello. So let's call this a ticket management board in here. I'm just going to do like a, so it's like unassigned in support. I don't know what the things are. I've got no idea what this is. So being dealt with. Done. For example. So what we, oh, it's not worked. Done. So what we could do here is we could say with like ConnectWise, I think, I'm guessing, this is where I'd like to get it to, even if, so they can still deal with it in Swansea, but you guys have still got some transparency. So let's say that there's a customer that raises a ticket and it's flagged with Aberdeen. We could be like, cool, now then create a card inside of Trello, which says ticket, or new ticket, for, let's say, OME Global, and we could put in there basically like we could merge a load of stuff in from a ticket if we wanted to, blah blah blah. And then let's say another car gets raised, it's like new ticket for, I don't know, McDonald's. And basically each time there's a ticket that gets created in ConnectWise, and we can get it to put it into Trello. We can basically move what the status is in ConnectWise to drop it into one of these things here. So what's cool about that? So let's see that this ticket for OME Global, again, this is where I think it could work. We'd have to check with the integration here, Andrew. But let's say inside of ConnectWise, that ticket gets moved from unassigned to being dealt with or assigned to a person. What happens is Zapier talks in the middle and moves this card along. So you guys aren't manually doing it, but straight away you can be sat there and being like, holy Christ, like how come we've got like 16 tickets here that are all in this stage and we've got none that are over here? So straight away we can start mirroring what the guys in Swansea have got on their ConnectWise system in a simple board here in Trello to give you a little bit of visibility and all that sort of stuff as well in terms of what's going on. Now if you want to take that to the next level, we can start doing other things around putting dashboards together and all that sort of stuff. But if you can map out what your status things are in ConnectWise here and basically use Zapier, if we've got a ticket that's in ConnectWise that's flagged as Aberdeen, and we can get that to move and to sync these two across, I think we can do some really, really cool things here with Trello. I think if you didn't want to complicate it with Trello, we could probably do some cool things with sort of like a spreadsheet, just so you can see how many are in each bucket, and again, so we can get that visibility. But when I saw ConnectWise as part of Zapier, that got me very, very excited because we can start leveraging cool things as well. So not only can we do this in Trello, but we could also be like, cool, if it's in ConnectWise, we can start automations in ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft. We can stop automations when they move different stages, so we can get flagged if things have been left 3 days, 4 days, 10 days, whatever it might be, and do all that sort of thing. But I think Trello, to be honest, gives us a really nice visual thing to beat people with a stick. If we've got a custom field on here as well, so if I go into show more and go add power up, they've got custom fields. I can add one, add a new field which is a date, and I can be like ticket raised date, create. So that when Zapier is creating these cards, let me get back to this, move my face out of the way. When Zapier is creating these cards, it goes, let's say we've got Burger King. It also brings a ticket data in as well. So ticket date was raised, let's say today, saved, and it sits like that. Now let's say that we've got another one here, which is for KFC, and it made it all KFC. And that one's raised, was actually raised, get it to connect with ConnectWise, like in September the 1st, save. Because we've got that on the board here, we can be like, what the hell? Why is this thing sat like that? We can then sort these things by going, actually, ticket raise date, why is this, do you know what I mean? So we can start seeing very, very quickly where things are overdue, where they're at, and all that sort of thing as well, without having to have access to ConnectWise. If we can get those two things to talk together, I think it might be a bit of a duct tape solution, which will work while you guys are working out how you're trying to merge stuff and all that sort of thing. So I wanted to share that. Anyway, that's by the by. That brings us back to this here, and the plan for the next 90 days. I've given you guys 2 weeks off for Christmas, which I think is very, very kind of me. I don't normally do that, but I kind of like you, so there you go. So I think week number 1 is basically let's get the email signatures done and start writing. We've got 2 phases for each of the steps, really. Basically writing the stuff and then building the automation out. So like I said, I want to write all this stuff first, and I think we can get all of this written by, where are we? The first week of December. Then that means the back end of December up till Christmas, we can basically get steps 1 to 4 built out. In January, then finish that first phase off, and then we work through the same process here, basically write everything, then build it out for phase number 2, all in the meantime looking at the research side for the ticket and how you want to make that work. If we think we can get the Zapier and the Trello integration going, I think you can probably challenge yourselves here and get phase 2 rolled out a little bit quicker, and we can probably build that integration out in phase number 3 relatively quickly. So that being said, next actions for you guys are get your email signatures in, write the content for phase 1, step 1, have conversations with Swansea around tickets. As far as I'm concerned, that's our first Rise of an Empire session done, dusted. That's the plan, done, dusted. This will be attached on the email. I've sent you the calendar invites as well for the bi-weekly fortnightly calls. First one being for you guys Thursday the 22nd of November at 12:30 AM. Just log on by clicking that link. And then we've got our next think tank meeting. If you guys can make the one next week, it will be absolutely awesome, which is Wednesday the 21st of November. Meeting starts at 9:30, teas, coffees and that from 9 o'clock. We finish at 1:30, at which point lunch happens and you guys can hang around as long as you're available, which is great. If you can't do that one, that's no problem. I've also sent the invite for the next one, our Christmas bonus one, which is going to be on the 15th of December. And then we're going to get the schedule out very, very quickly for next year as well. So guys, that's a plan for the next 90 days. Hopefully you've still got coffee in your hands. Hopefully you are as excited about this as I am. Let's go make this thing happen.